Welcome to SLCC Live. This week we are following up on last week's movie talk with some TV talk. This week we have Portia. Say hi.
Hi.
We have Mr. Brian here. Say hi.
Hey, how's it going, world?
And we have the one and only Zachary Western here with us. Say hi.
Oh, hello.
And I'll just throw it to our host, Portia.
What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about different TV shows. Last week we talked about movies, so TV shows is our change for the week. Let's just go ahead and get right into it, and I'm going to ask Brian what his favorite show is of all time. Number one, best one.
Man, my favorite number one all-time show. Well, that wasn't on the rundown. You're already throwing me curveballs here, Portia. It's probably Breaking Bad. I think Breaking Bad would be the best show I've ever seen from start to finish.
I don't think I ever finished Breaking Bad. Like, I definitely have seen it, like, here and there, certain episodes, maybe a whole season, but I never, like, start to end.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I actually talked about it a little bit with some of the stuff we're going to cover, but it's a show that's tough to get into because it's about 3 seasons of character building and then stuff really starts to happen. But I love the character building, and then once it really gets going, it's nonstop. It's a fun show. I recommend it to everyone.
3 seasons of meth lab building is really what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. What is that on a streaming service?
I don't think it is.
Having recently completed a watch, it is on Netflix, all of the seasons.
Oh, okay, there you go. Thanks.
Yeah, nice. That one has a good amount of seasons too, so it's not like it only has like 2 or 3 seasons, right? Like, that's a bingeable show.
Yeah, I believe it's 6 seasons, and they're roughly hour-long episodes. So it's a time commitment, but I mean, right now, what else do we have to do?
Yeah, really.
So what's your favorite show?
That's really hard. I kind of think one of my favorite shows of all time is definitely like Portlandia or Broad City, but both of those shows are over now. So they're not going to have any more seasons. So I started the newest season of American Horror Story because that was one of my favorite shows of all time.
Okay.
But I don't think that's true. Like, it's going downhill. I think they should stop making seasons.
I watched 1 season of American Horror Story. It was the one where, it was the Carnival.
Oh.
What was that, season 3 or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. But look, Portlandia, I've heard good things about. I've never had a chance to watch it.
It's so good. I love Portlandia. That's like my go-to show if I'm going to just like put something on in the background to like do homework or, I don't know, hang out and like play on my phone. I'll put Portlandia on.
Okay.
If you've ever been to Portland, it's like really accurate.
Is it a comedy?
Yeah. So it's a comedy.
Okay.
It's kind of like different spoofs every episode of like different weird Portland culture things. So they have like, one of their most famous ones is the Feminist Bookstore, which actually exists in Portland. And it's just like 2 feminists that run this feminist bookstore. And so they like make like spoofs like that. It's fun. Super good.
Okay, yeah, that sounds worthwhile.
Yeah, they're only like, I think like 25 minutes, but pretty good. And like Broad City's similar, I feel like comedy-wise too. So that's like my style of show. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Might
Yeah,
have to try those out.
Those shows are, I feel like, kind of underrated. But as far as overrated shows, do you have any overrated shows?
Oh, I've got a few overrated shows. So, Walking Dead. I got into Walking Dead, I think it was during the 2nd season, which is something I almost never do. I try and wait until shows have several seasons or until they're finished. But, oh man, it was pretty good the first 2 or 3 seasons, I thought. And it's been a mess and almost not worth watching, but it's, like, for me, it's kind of fun to have a couple drinks and just sit and laugh at the ridiculousness of it rather than actually taking it seriously anymore. The Good Place is another show that I've heard a lot of people talk about, and I've seen it. My fiance watches it, and it holds absolutely no interest for me. Maybe I just don't like Ted Danson. And then I got a couple hot takes here. So you may want to go after me on this one, but I don't like The Office.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes. Okay, I'm glad we agree. Michael Scott's just too awkward. I don't enjoy it. And then I tried to watch Game of Thrones, couldn't get into it. And Scrubs. Never been a big Scrubs fan. Watched a couple seasons, and I just didn't find it amusing.
Yeah, The Office is for sure the most overrated show that has literally ever existed. And I think a lot of people come for Friends, but I do like Friends. I like Friends way more than I would ever like The Office. But the superior show is Parks and Recreation.
Oh, yeah. That's not even a question.
Yeah, I don't know why anyone would watch The Office when you could watch Parks and Rec.
Yeah, if you have a choice, there's only one worth doing.
Yeah, for sure. I think The Walking Dead is definitely overrated. I guess I would say that Friends is a little overrated. It's good, but it's not like, I don't know, like supreme sitcom kind of.
The only problem with Friends is when you're watching it now, it's really dated. Like it doesn't transition to the current time very well.
I think that I actually heard I follow like Jennifer Aniston or one of them on Instagram, and they're doing, I think they partnered with HBO or Stars.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do a reunion season or something.
Yeah. I don't know if it's they're doing something. I can't remember exactly if it's a season or if it's like one episode to see what they're doing. But yeah, it's something I've heard about. Be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, that will probably modernize it a little bit more, but I'm pretty sure every show that was currently filming as of like February, March has stopped filming because of the pandemic. So I don't really know like how that's going to make like fall premieres. Like Grey's Anatomy had their season finale this last week, even though I think they had 4 or 5 more episodes like scheduled, but they had to stop filming. So I don't know how that's going to affect those things.
There's been a couple shows. One of my podcasts that I listen to, the Bill Simmons show, he had a guest on. The name of the guest evades me, so maybe not the best story. But he works with some production studios and some of the networks and whatnot. And he was saying that there are some shows who just went on hiatus, and instead of doing like an end of season episode, they did like Walking Dead does this, where they'll have a fall season and then a spring season. So some of the shows changed their final episode, and then when they come back, they'll wrap up the season.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, maybe I'm thinking, have you ever like had a show that will like have like a season 5, and there's like 12 episodes in season 5, but then they only give you the first 6, and then they take like a 2-month break, 3-month break, and then they give you the rest of the season?
Yeah.
Like Rick and Morty's doing that right now. So it's been like 3 months since season 4 premiered or whatever, season 5, and we still don't even have the other half of it.
Okay. Yeah, I think Big Mouth did that too on Netflix.
Yeah, there's a couple shows that I feel like it's kind of becoming popular, and it's kind of unfortunate because you get so excited because it's a new season and you know what day it's going to premiere, and then
Yep. No, I totally agree.
All right.
So what about underrated shows?
Underrated. Broad City and Portlandia for sure.
Okay. Yeah, for me, there was a couple more I wanted to bring up. So Arliss, this kind of dates me. It's a like late 90s, early 2000s show about a sports agent that was on HBO. It was just goofy and fun, and I enjoyed it because there are a lot of celebrity and athlete cameos. And then How I Met Your Mother is
How I Met Your Mother's good.
Probably my favorite sitcom ever. There's not a probably. It's good.
Yeah. Everyone will have to check those ones out. I'm going to toss over to Zack, and let's hear about the news, weather, and traffic this week.
Well, hello. Thank you. First of all, Brian, do you like anything? I don't know what's going on with you. But anyway, let's talk about the news. So for sort of local news, as the rate of confirmed COVID cases decreases, state health officials continue to ask those even with mild symptoms to be tested. Health officials have identified fever, cough, shortness of breath as symptoms most associated with COVID-19. Early on, state epidemiologist, I think that was right, Dr. Angela Dunn told Utahns to stay home even if they exhibited symptoms that were mild. But in Tuesday's daily COVID-19 press conference, she said, our testing capacity has increased drastically, so we've changed our message. They're really reaching out for people to get tested, even with mild symptoms. So if you're exhibiting those symptoms, please don't be afraid to get tested. It's for the greater good. And looking at Globe News, As covered on Globe News, globeslcc.com, students at Salt Lake Community College are feeling the impact of COVID-19 on their mental health, with a collective of students battling inner depression, anxiety, things like that. SLCC strives to continue to give them what they need. PhD Scott Kadera, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, counseling manager and psychologist at the Center of Health and Counseling, says, since there's only about a month of school left, and that will be over before we know it. He recommends that students try to keep as normal a routine as possible. For the full story, you can go to globeslcc.com. As we transition over to the weather, we're experiencing some light rain and what is technically considered hazardous conditions because, rain happens and people get crazy. But looks like we will have some rain likely today. Looks at about a 60% chance of some precipitation today. So it'll be cloudy with a high near 53 degrees. As we transition over to the traffic, luckily, because there's not a ton of traffic on the road, or at least there shouldn't be, there's not a ton going on the roads right now. People are safely within their Zoom calls, having their conversations. So it looks like there's no trouble on the roads right now. Thank goodness. Back to you, Portia.
Thanks, Zach. Good to hear. So we have some good things headed your way. We're going to still talk about some new TV shows, getting some new seasons out to you guys, and me and Brian will share our probably summer, fall picks. So stay tuned for that. All right, so let's go ahead and hop back in. We have some new seasons of shows that we're looking forward to. I know that we kind of already talked about how shows are on pause, so I'm not sure how summer seasons of shows are going to be affected yet, but we do have some things to look forward to. So Brian, what shows are you looking forward to premiering either the summer or the fall or next winter?
So I kind of mentioned this. I typically don't watch shows as they're currently going on because I just don't like to wait. So Better Call Saul is one that I've been watching, and I believe it's the last season is on right now. So we're recording it and waiting for those episodes to finish. But one that I'm really looking forward to, and honestly, I'm not sure when it's going to be coming out, but I saw it yesterday. Amazon spent $250 million to purchase the rights to do a Lord of the Rings TV show.
Oh.
So they're expecting it could be the first TV show that ends up with $1 billion price tag. And man, if they do it right, Lord of the Rings, I'm down. Let's get into that one.
I'm honestly kind of ashamed. I've never watched Lord of the Rings.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and just stop the show now.
Yeah.
We have nothing less to discuss.
Zach will probably be mad, but I've also never seen Star Wars, so.
That's okay.
I forgive
I
you.
support that.
I've just never made the time to sit down and watch them because I feel like it's kind of like a overwhelming task now because they're so long and there's so many that I just feel like I can't do it now. Maybe if a TV show comes out, I can watch a TV show about it. Maybe that will be better.
Oh, they're so good. Every Christmas season, I'll sit down and watch all of the extended editions of Lord of the Rings. Just a great show. I mean, you got 15 hours, sit down and watch them. Good times.
15 hours. That's a long time. Literally anything. But yeah, I like to watch shows that are based on books. So I'm currently watching season 5 of Outlander. It's on Stars. And I used my Hulu subscription to upgrade for it. So I'm paying an extra $6 a month, which is not fun. But I've read all the Outlander books, so I'm really into it. And that show I think is so good. I think the first 4 seasons are on Netflix now. And they're really good. A 10 out of 10 recommend. It is definitely a mature show, not for kids to watch.
Okay.
But it is really good. And I don't know what they're going to do about production either, as far as because I believe they're supposed to premiere season 6 in the fall, but who knows if they're going to even film it.
Yeah, so much of that stuff is up in the air. What is Outlander about? That's another one that I've heard of, but I don't know much about.
It's about a lot, but it's about a woman who lives in the 1930s, and then she is a military nurse, and she ends up traveling through the stones in Scotland on a trip there, which are just it's not a real stone formation, but in the books it is. And she accidentally travels back in time and falls in love with like a Scottish man, and then has to like go on like live in the 1700s, which is obviously really hard if you're from the 1900s.
Yeah, that's a transition.
Yeah, and has to go through tons of different trials, and she ends up like going back to her own time and then coming back to the 1700s, and like she has a daughter while she's there. It's pretty crazy, but it's really good, and it's actually like pretty historically accurate, because it's written by someone who has like their PhD in American history, and she just decided to explore something different, and so she did a whole thing about Scottish history. It actually turned out really good, and the books are so long though. They're like 2,000 pages of book, and there's 9.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's insane.
So
and you say that's on Hulu?
It's on Netflix.
Oh, it's on Netflix. Okay.
And they actually just barely put it on Netflix probably like 2 or 3 months ago, because when I lived in Thailand, I had a VPN. And so if you use a VPN, you can watch Netflix in other countries, and in other countries they have different selection of shows. And so I started watching it when I was in Thailand, and then when I came home, it wasn't on American Netflix yet. Now it is, but
nice.
Yeah. Couple other shows that I'm looking forward to, or new seasons of shows. I guess I will be looking forward to Grey's Anatomy coming back. Kind of. I'm kind of over it. They can end it. I'm over it now.
How many seasons is it now?
I think it has to be like 15, I want to say.
That's insane.
Law and Order SVU's on like 16, I think. And I think they've been renewed for another 2. But like they can end it too, honestly.
Yeah.
I think ABC and NBC are just kind of like, I think those are probably their 2 biggest shows. Mariska Hargitay, who's the star of SVU, and Ellen Pompeo of Grey's Anatomy, they're like the highest paid female actresses in TV. So. Oh,
are they really? Okay.
So they probably don't want it to end, because that's like, but I also feel like they should maybe try other roles and do other things. Like forever, I could not do that.
Yeah, I've heard that can be kind of hard for actors and actresses. They try not to pigeonhole themselves, and when you get in a successful TV show, it's kind of a push and pull, whether you want to stay with the show because it's successful, or if you want to branch out and do feature films or other shows and kind of play a different type of role. So it's interesting when people stay with them for years and years and years.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's kind of like what I feel like happened with like Broad City. It's a Comedy Central show. And I feel like a lot of Comedy Central shows don't last very long. So like Broad City only has 5 seasons. Key and Peele was another one, which is like pretty raunchy humor usually, but I think it's really funny. And they only lasted like 4 or 5 seasons too. So I don't really know if it's like by network. Like I feel like ABC and NBC and those networks usually have like really long running shows, whereas others don't. I think, what is The Walking Dead on? TNT?
No, Walking Dead is AMC, and it's like season 9 now, 9, 10, something like that.
So that one, I stopped watching after like season 3.
I wish I had stopped watching after season 3, but I've got like an OCD personality in terms of if I start watching something, I almost have to finish it. So I'm still in. And like I say, I just laugh at it more than anything now.
Yeah, I feel like I get really bored in TV shows. Like a lot of the time I'll stop and have to come back to them. I think it's trudging through like the pilot and the first few episodes to get into it. I think Zack was talking about that for Schitt's Creek, that you just kind of have to like make it through the first few episodes and then you'll really like it. And
yeah,
that's so hard. I just want to find things that I like. I don't want to have to put the effort in to watch them.
I know, right? Why can't we just jump into it and love it from the very beginning? Why do I have to work to enjoy a show?
I know. I feel like everyone always makes fun of me for liking reality TV. It's like one of my guilty pleasures. But I like reality TV because you don't have to do that. Like it's really just mindless. Like you just put it on and you don't have to like think about plots. You don't have to think about characters. Like nobody's developing.
Yeah.
I like really like to just watch reality TV like that because it's just mindless.
What kind of reality TV?
Any reality TV. I'm going to expose myself on SLCC Live. I recently watched Jersey Shore Family Vacation, which is like, they're all so old now. And what is his name? Mike, The Situation. He goes to jail for fraud in it, and he's like in his 40s now. It's pretty rough. Like, but I don't know. I feel like I can just like especially after I work night shifts. So like last night I worked a night shift, and I got off at 6:30 a.m. And then at 10 I have class, but like it's hard to like sleep in between. So usually I'll like watch a show and shower, but I don't want to put on like something like that's really going to need my full attention and I can't get on my phone. So I'll put something like that on, and I just like take my mind off of it. I don't know. It's pretty good, honestly. I did start the new season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, which is also a guilty pleasure. It's pretty rough. Like they also need to stop. Like I feel like so many shows have been on for so long. I think they're on like their 11th or 12th season, and just getting worse for them.
It seems like there's a lot of shows like that are kind of niche, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. They're not necessarily on big networks, but they're on, they just have a small dedicated audience. And then you've got other of those reality shows that you can just run back over and over and over, like your Survivor and The Amazing Race and stuff like that, where all we got to do is just recast people and then it's good. Let's do the show over. I personally have never been able to get into reality TV, but I honestly haven't really tried either.
Yeah, I don't like Survivor either. To me, it's always felt like really not survivory. Like if I want to watch something like that, I'd rather watch like Naked and Afraid.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Naked and Afraid's much better because I don't really love like the game show aspect of Survivor. That's why I like Naked and Afraid better.
Yeah.
I don't really like competition shows very much. Like I never got into like The Amazing Race. I did like Wipeout. Wipeout was good. They should bring that back.
No, Wipeout was definitely a good time. And on the same line with Naked and Afraid, I like those survivalist shows, like the Bear Grylls show and those types of things where they just get dropped out into nature and survive for this amount of days, and you hike out or whatever it is. Those are kind of fun because I just feel like you learn more from those, and they're realistic.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think what other shows that are like that I want to see again. Oh, American Ninja Warrior was good. I don't know if they win prize money in that though.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they win it for American Ninja Warrior. I used to watch just the regular Ninja Warrior, and awesome show, and I'm pretty sure they won prize money, but I don't know about American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, that one is really good. I think that one's still, I don't have cable, but I think that one's still airing. I think that another one I've been seeing a lot that's like similar, I think it's on ABC, is The Masked Singer and like America's Got Talent, and I don't like those shows like at all. Like those are just not, maybe it's just the competition and like money aspect where I feel like it's really not genuine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like it's more marketing than actually like watching a show and seeing something that's genuine. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think hopefully Netflix will put some new reality shows on there so I can be mindless for 12 hours out of the day until this pandemic can pass, because I need a couple new shows. But we will have some new stuff coming up for you guys, but we are going to pass on over to Zack for this week's weather.
Hello, I'm back. Happy to be here. All right, you mentioned we're going to talk about the weather. So right now we're looking at light rain with 44 degrees. So deceptively cold, honestly. You think, oh my gosh, it's so sunny. It's going to be lovely. Think again. Looking forward, this weekend might be the dreaded snow. There's a 50% chance of snow on Thursday, and hopefully should clear up by the weekend. At least the chance of it. Moving forward, we're looking at highs in the 50s, low 50s, 53 degrees. Moving forward tomorrow, probably a high around 47. So it is going to cool down a bit. Now, looking at news, Elizabeth Warren has become the latest ex-presidential rival to back Joe Biden. Brief frontrunner in the Democratic race last fall, she suspended her campaign after a disappointing Super Tuesday where she even placed third place in her own home state of Massachusetts. She tweeted out saying, "In this moment of crisis, it is more important than ever that the next president restores America's faith in good, effective government. I've seen Joe Biden help our nation rebuild." So today, she endorses Joe Biden as president of the United States. In SLCC news, in order to ensure the continued safety of students and faculty, SLCC will be transitioning to all summer courses to an online delivery. Clifton Sanders of the Academic Affairs says this is an unexpected, once-in-a-generation adjustment. Our goal is to help students as much as possible and provide students the flexibility they need to keep going and be successful. Students can now choose between keeping their earned grade for the current semester, or if it's satisfactory, or selecting a pass or withdraw option. Visit the SLCC Safe portal on slcc.edu for more information about SLCC's response to the pandemic. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Zach. I'm glad that SLCC is providing these resources. I think that we kind of talked about a little earlier this morning before the show that there is some really great resources out there that are being provided. So we'll go ahead and check those out. But now we're going to get back to another TV show talk. We're going to talk about what we've been binging during this isolation. We've kind of already touched on it a little bit, but we do have some specific shows that I want to recommend to you guys and that I've enjoyed a lot during binge. So do you have any shows that you've binged, Brian?
Well, it sounds like you've got a little bit more to talk about on this one, so I can just say mine really quick. I've been watching West Wing lately, trying to catch up on that, another late 90s show that it's on Netflix, and it's kind of fun, almost idyllic compared to our current government. So I enjoy watching it and thinking, boy, what would it be like to have a president that cares about us? But hey, who am I to judge? And then I've been binging for my podcast. I've been doing a lot of throwback stuff for the Jazz. So tomorrow, with the playoffs supposed to have started this weekend, I've been putting together a podcast where we talk about the 10 best Jazz playoff series in their franchise history. So I've been binging tons of old Jazz basketball. It's been a lot of fun.
That would not ever be me. You would never find me binging old Jazz basketball games. That is for sure. Did you watch any other shows on like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, or anything like that that you'd want to recommend to other people?
Not recently. I haven't binged a whole lot. I mean, one of my favorite binges, if I just want to sit down and laugh and really kind of let the seriousness of the world right now go, is Big Mouth on Netflix. Love watching Big Mouth, and it's just because it's one of those shows. It's hilarious no matter how many times you watch it, but also every time you watch it, you see new things, or you pick up on new jokes. You see stuff in the background that you didn't notice before, and it just great show. Love Big Mouth.
Big Mouth is another one. That one is definitely more of a TV mature.
Yeah.
I feel like Big Mouth's another show that I put on like when I just don't know what else to watch. You know, it's like time to rewatch it, and it's funny. So like I feel like a lot of the time, like my roommates do the same thing too. Like if I just come downstairs and they're working on homework, or one of them likes to cross stitch, there's Big Mouth on. So I feel like it's a good one like that.
Yeah, definitely. So what do you binge? You sounded like you had a few things to talk about here.
I haven't like binged specific like series. I feel like Netflix has put out a lot of really great things though recently. So the one that I watched, actually watched it in a whole shift at work. It was on a night shift because it was 4 episodes long, I believe. So 4 hours, which was still a decent amount, but it's Self-Made, the story of Madam C.J. Walker. And it's based on a real story. It has Octavia Spencer in there. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I love her.
Octavia Spencer.
She was in Mama, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's great. So she does a fantastic job portraying Madam C.J. Walker, and it's basically about how she makes her own hairline for women who are dark-skinned, because before there was only products for light-skinned women, and so she like makes this whole like basically empire, and it's like really inspiring. It's pretty like feminist, and it happens I think in the early 1940s. So it's like really cool. I think it did receive some backlash and some hate, but I honestly thought it was really good. Octavia Spencer is just phenomenal in everything she does, though. And I think she was co-producer on this show.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so she did a really good job. I think she also produced Mog. I think she had something to do with writing the story and stuff, too. So she does a great job. I love Octavia Spencer. And so that was a good one to binge. You can binge that in like a day.
Okay.
Another one that I watched recently, let's see, The Platform. Have you seen that on Netflix? It's a spooky.
No, I haven't seen that one.
That one's, I think it's originally in Spanish, but it has a good dub over it. I think it premiered at the Toronto Film Festival, and it was so good. It's a spooky one, so if you don't like scary movies, it's probably like not for you. But it's not like gory violence or anything too much. But it's basically like about a dystopian society that lives in a platform. So it's kind of like a cement building, and each level has 2 people on it. Yeah.
I started it. It, and then I fell asleep.
Oh, well, you should wake up and watch that again, because the top floor people like get like really fancy meals. So they'll get like turkey and ham and mashed potatoes and cakes and all that stuff. And then they push it down to like the next level, and they get what they didn't eat and what they didn't eat. And like the last people on the platform get like the scraps, and it basically makes people go crazy. But the levels are like rearranged, so you never know if you're going to be at the top or the bottom. But it's really good. I like really enjoyed that. And that one's a spooky one. Watch it with the lights on.
Okay, I'm glad you recommended that, because I started it and I wasn't totally sure. Like I say, I fell asleep, but I think I'll probably give that one a try.
Yeah, I think that Netflix has been putting out a lot of like more indie-ish films, and I would say that that's like a more indie film. They put out a bunch of good ones. I'm actually going to look right now. Yeah, so the platform's on there, and that was fantastic. Another one that I just barely started yesterday is Unorthodox. I don't know if anyone's heard about that. I feel like that one, I don't know when that came out. Let's see here. So it came out this year, and it's basically a woman like flees a marriage in New York City, and then her past that catches up to her is basically like I don't want to spoil it for anybody because I just barely started it, so I don't know for sure. But that one's really good. I think it has like 5 stars on Netflix, and it just barely came out. It's based on Deborah Fieldman's 2012 memoir, so you know who that is. Yeah, I'm really excited to finish that, and that one just barely came out. They have a bunch of stuff I feel like that's really recent. Yeah, there's also, I watched Crip Camp, which is basically about a camp for people who are disabled and stuff, and they are the people that created like the Special Olympics, and that was really good. That's like a documentary. There's tons of good ones, and that premiered this year in the Sundance Film Festival. So like film festival type shows, there's tons on Netflix right now. I think like Netflix probably like cut a deal or something because they have a ton of like indie films and stuff from the festivals in the last year. So tons of stuff to check out on there. I'm trying to think, have any shows that you started that you hated and didn't finish?
There was only really one that I could come up with that I hated so much that I couldn't finish it, and that was Lost. I think I got into the 3rd season of Lost, but with like smoke monsters and some underground hidden I don't know what it was, and I got input numbers. I was
just don't understand it, man. You just don't
Zach,
get it.
If it's not news, weather, traffic, Zach, we don't want to hear from you, buddy. No, I couldn't do it, and I think I know how it ended. But Lost, I hated it, and I had to turn it off. What about you?
I actually liked Lost. I'm trying to think if there's any shows that I've started that I just couldn't do. Probably like a month ago, I started Bates Motel, which was, and I hated like the first like 4 episodes, kind of how we were talking about earlier. And it took me so long to motivate myself to watch it, and now it's probably one of my favorite shows. It was so good. It's based on Psycho.
Yeah.
So if you've seen Psycho and then you watch Bates Motel, it's pretty cool because it like flows that way. But like when I had watched Psycho, because I watched Psycho years ago, and I started watching Bates Motel, I was like, I just don't see how this is going to tie in. I feel like this isn't going to be good. And then it was good. So that turned out nice. I'm trying to think what other shows I've started recently that I just couldn't get into. I think there's a few. I feel like I'm such like a homebody and I watch the same things always. I don't really start new stuff. Like it's kind of bad.
That's how I am too. I'll just be like, what do I want to watch today? Parks and Rec again. Let's do that. It's a good fallback, stuff like that.
I recently watched all the Harold and Kumar movies and Austin Powers movies, but I've already seen all those before, so that wasn't anything new for me. Had to going through them. I actually did a 18 page PowerPoint on one of the Austin Powers movies for like an in-depth technical film review. So I hope one of my professors appreciated that, because I had to watch Austin Powers and Goldmember literally like 4 times, and I'll probably never watch again for as long as I live.
And if you have to do an 18-slide review on a movie, you probably made a good choice there, though.
I just honestly wanted to pick something random, because I feel like a lot of people picked pretty serious movies, and I was like, I can't watch it, because you have to like stop and start and stop and start.
Yeah.
And like rewind to find different things. So I was like, I just have to pick something that like I haven't seen too much, and it's not like it's lighthearted. So it's Austin Powers.
Yeah.
I think it's like my roommate actually told me, she's from Pennsylvania, because I brought up Austin Powers when I was talking about doing this film review, and she told me that she used to watch it in elementary school. Like they would roll that big TV into the room and they would watch it. Isn't that like weird?
Yeah, that's odd.
That's what I was like, she's like, oh yeah, I used to watch that in school all the time. I was like, what do you mean? What school did you go to that allowed you to watch that? I don't know. That's a pretty good one. Do you have what's your top, let's say 3 shows that you loved during your childhood?
Oh, top 3 shows from my childhood. I always loved coming home and watching Saved by the Bell. It was on TBS, and it would be on at like, they had weird start times. So it was like a 3:05, 3:35. Like I could get out of school and run home, and I could watch Zack Morris and Kelly Kapowski, Lisa Turtle, AC Slater, the whole gang. And then the Nickelodeon shows. So when I was going through and prepping for this, I remembered some of these Nickelodeon shows, and it was a nice throwback for me. It kind of dates me a little bit, but like shows like Pete and Pete and Hey Dude and Salute Your Shorts, and some of those real classics, like the Pete and Pete episode where they convinced Pete and Pete that the chlorine in the swimming pool would turn green if you peed in the pool. So there was a big hullabaloo about not peeing in the pool because everybody would know that it was you. Good times. Real classic television.
Yeah, I feel like maybe we probably lived different childhoods, but I feel like I used to watch, I think, what was it, like Nick at Night a lot. So it was like reruns of like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Oh, yeah.
The Nanny. And I loved the Golden Girls when I was young. Like I had the Golden Girls shirts. Like I don't know what my deal was, because now it's kind of becoming trendy-ish now.
It is.
As a kid, none of my friends watched it. Like my parents thought it was like kind of weird. I was like, I love the Golden Girls. I still like Betty White a lot. I think she's great. I mean, there's new stories coming out every other day to trick you into thinking she died.
Yeah.
She's fine. She's doing great. But yeah, I think the Golden Girls, I loved like the Nick at Night, like the reruns. The Nanny was really good. When I had the VPN in Thailand, they had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on Netflix. So I actually watched all of it again pretty recently. I wish they would put it on American Netflix, because that would be my new Parks and Rec. I put that on instead.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to have back on. I would watch that, definitely.
Yeah, I think they should put a lot of those 90s shows back on. Like The Nanny would still be good. I'd rewatch that. Amazon Prime has Roseanne. Watching it back as an adult, I realized like how like not good it is. I don't know, like super duper like conservative, really like hardcore Midwest. I don't know. It was like definitely to watch it as an adult, because I thought it was funny when I was a kid, but now it's not so funny. And it actually like I want to say it was like ABC or somewhere that they gave them a new season, and then Roseanne blew it. So
it didn't work out. Isn't it interesting how you can have shows and movies that you enjoyed as a child, and then when you watch them, you go back, you haven't seen them since you were a kid, and you go back and watch them as an adult, and the perspective is completely different. And sometimes they hold up, but other times you begin questioning everything you thought you knew in life and why you ever enjoyed it.
A lot of like kids movies have so much like sexual innuendos and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I never noticed. Like I was really missing out.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I am glad that we can agree on some of those things. Up next, we're going to talk about or do our fun segment of the show. So that is going to be Would You Rather. So would you rather watch your favorite show again, or be forced to watch your most hated show every month for the rest of your life? Find out what our hosts say to that question and more here on Radio SLCC.
All right, you guys ready for these questions?
Let's do
this thing.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. be forced to only watch sitcoms or be forced to only watch reality TV for the rest of your life?
That's
Both
easy.
are good with me, so I'm chilling at either one.
Yeah, sitcoms.
I got to
Sitcoms.
choose sitcoms.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right. If that one was too easy, then how about never watch TV shows again or never be able to watch movies again?
I could give up TV shows.
I could give up movies.
I need movies.
Oh, you guys are killing me, but I can still have sports. So I'm going to give up movies.
Movies?
Yeah.
Any in particular you're going to miss?
The spooky ones.
Spooky ones.
I'll miss like nonfiction, factual type movies. Not necessarily documentaries, but stuff that just dives into the real world. I would miss that.
All right. Would you rather star in a reality TV show or be a side character in a comedy?
I am a side character in a comedy, so
You look like Jim, so you got that going on right now, Zach.
I feel like I'd rather be a star of a reality show. I always thought I was going to be on Jersey Shore. I was like really young, which is so bad now. Like I just thought like that was like the goal for me. But 10-year-old me thought I could do it. So
I'll be a sidekick. I still think it'd be a good time, even if I am in the background.
Would you rather cook with Gordon Ramsay on The F Word or cook with Snoop Dogg in Martha and Snoop's potluck dinner party?
Oh God.
That's easy. Snoop. Snoop and Martha's relationship is so funny.
I would go with Snoop and hope that he would share some of his product.
he seems generous. I think you would.
Would you rather co-star in a show with Donald Glover or co-star in a show with Andy Samberg?
Oh. Sandberg.
Childish Gambino for me. Donald Glover.
Same.
I've been rewatching Community. It just dropped on Netflix this month, and so yeah, Donald Glover.
All right. Would you never be able to watch your favorite show again or be forced to watch your most hated show once a month?
I can give up The Office. There's some stuff I don't want to watch.
I don't know. I really hate The Office, so I would not want to watch it once a month. But I feel like I watch it once a month anyways. My roommates watch it every day. So I guess I'd be fine to watch it. I catch it in passing.
I'll give up my favorite show because there's so many things that I can enjoy watching that if I have to give up one, that's all right.
All right. Here's the final question, right? Would you rather have your favorite show wiped from existence? It never existed, and you're the only person that remembers it. Or would you watch bad shows for the rest of your life and nothing but bad shows?
This is painful. Either way.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
I'm going to go to Brian's point, and I will say I will remove my favorite show from the world. Like we mentioned, if let's say my favorite show is The Office, I still have Parks and Rec. If I lose Breaking Bad, there's something to replace it. So I will remove my favorite shows. Oh.
I don't want to watch bad shows forever, though. I could live with only remembering Portlandia. It kind of feels like a fever dream anyways, so
I feel like I'm gonna go counterintuitive on this one. I'm gonna pick bad shows because if I'm watching bad shows, then I'm likely to cut back on my TV watching and wasting time. And I can make fun of bad shows. Like if you've ever watched a Front Row Film Roast or Mystery Science Theater or something like that, you know how much fun it is to make fun of bad programming. So I could do that. I feel like I'd be more productive in life.
nice.
All right. So that was the Would You Rather segment of today's show. We got to pass it to Zack now for the news, weather, and traffic. Zack, what's it look like, man?
All right. Did you know that the government wants to buy you your next iPhone? Sort of. Well, the Internal Revenue Service has started sending out their stimulus payments of up to $1,200. I know a lot of my friends have already received theirs, so I haven't, but it's fine. The first payments will go out to those who have already filed their 2018 or 2019 tax returns and authorized the IRS to make a direct deposit if they were due a refund. Within that group, the agency is starting with the people with the lowest incomes, and Social Security recipients will also receive their payments even if they haven't filed a return. There are tens of millions of people who don't fall into those categories, so those taxpayers who haven't authorized direct deposit will be waiting weeks to get their checks, though they will. Your check is in the mail. You can jump onto the Treasury's website. They have a new portal where you can follow up on the status of your stimulus check. Now, in local news, did you feel that? Because apparently my social media did. An aftershock of the initial the earthquake that happened back on March 18th is rearing its head again. We had a 4.2 magnitude aftershock on Tuesday evening. That is again following the main earthquake of a 5.7, which has already caused millions of dollars in damage. University of Utah seismologists say we should continue to expect aftershocks related to that initial event, though most have been too small. At what point do we stop calling them aftershocks and just say we had another earthquake? I don't know. Anyway, that's what's going on in the news world. Back to you guys.
Awesome, thank you. Yes, I did feel the earthquake last night, and I still didn't get out of bed. I should maybe start a little bit more. I feel like our show went really well today. I had fun talking to Brian about my favorite TV shows. I will probably be starting Schitt's Creek today. Still not going to watch The Walking Dead, but it was a good show. I'm glad that we got to talk about some stuff. We'll be seeing you guys right here next week. I am planning hopefully a good show for everyone. So we're looking forward to it, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.